Hi, this is Dr. Jessica Hockman. Today we're going to talk about potty training. I'm going to review my personal thoughts and philosophies around potty training. I'm going to share some tips. And my goal is if I can help ease any stress to anybody out there about potty training, then I'll feel like making this video was well worth it. Now, for what to expect, most children do stay dry somewhere between 2 and 4 years of age. The average female potty trains around 2.5, and the average male is closer to 3 years old. Now, how do you know when it's a good time to start potty training? There are certain key signs of readiness that I like to see before I recommend getting started. Number 1, your child should be at least 2 years old. Earlier than that, there's a really good chance it's not going to work out, and I think it's important to set your child up for success. Number 2, you start to notice a pattern that when your child wakes up from a nap or in the morning that they have a dry diaper. This is a sign that their bladder function is maturing. The third sign of readiness is that they show an interest and curiosity around toileting. And lastly, but probably most important, your child should mind being in a wet or dirty diaper. If your child doesn't mind being in a poopy diaper, it's really hard to motivate them to successfully potty train. And I promise you, at some point, they will mind. There are many potty training methods out there. There's the 3-day boot camp method, the 4-day stay-at-home method, the run around all weekend naked method. But personally, I just believe in following your child's cues of readiness and waiting until then to encourage potty training. This philosophy to let them potty train on their own time comes from a well-known pediatrician named Dr. Brazelton. Dr. Brazelton found that when children are allowed to potty train using their own free will without feeling any pressure, that this is the method that provides the most success. He found that if parents use flattery and praise rather than showing disapproval and adding stress to potty training, that the whole process can happen easily and with minimal stress. All right, now how to prepare for potty training. I believe it's important to help your child familiarize themselves with toileting. You can do this by reading them books before bed about potty training. This happens to be the book that's in our library called Once Upon a Potty. Another important step is to buy your child a potty. So you can either buy them a potty chair that's low to the ground, or you can buy them a toilet seat cover. I personally prefer the potty chairs if I had to pick because I think it fosters your child's independence. If you do opt to buy the over-the-toilet seat cover, I do recommend buying a stool so that your child can climb up the stool and sit on the potty all by themselves. It's also helped to familiarize your child with flushing. Some kids are frightened by it, and some kids are fascinated by it. I recommend meeting your child where they're at. If they're scared of flushing, I would wait till they leave the room to flush the toilet. But if they're interested in it, it's an activity you can do together. And lastly, I would get in the habit of dressing them in loose, easy to remove clothing. This will help them eventually use the potty on their own. Now for the fun part, the actual potty training. I think it's really helpful to make the entire process really exciting and really positive. So around the toilet, I would put a lot of stickers, bubbles, activities, books. Make it the place to be. Also recommend positively reinforcing any progress towards toilet training. So if they sit on the potty in clothing, I would throw a party for it. Why not? I do recommend against using sweets as a reward because I do think this can help create bad habits in the future. I also think it's fun to get them underwear that they might be motivated to wear. So for example, some with their favorite superhero or cartoon character. Now, at some point, you'll start to notice success, that they're actually peeing and pooping in the toilet. At this point, I think it's really helpful if parents offer gentle reminders. So best times to remind them are when they wake up in the morning, after naps. If you notice that they're squirming or doing what I call the potty dance, at that point, I also think it's good to encourage them to try. It's important not to over-remind them, though, because this can add stress to toilet training. Now for boys, I encourage them to first learn to pee while sitting, and then over time they'll be more comfortable and you can try to have them pee while standing. One tip is to put a Cheerio in the middle of the toilet and have them practice aiming. And a really important point, I think, is to avoid any battling whatsoever about potty training. If your child isn't interested, that's totally okay. I would just wait a month or two and consider trying again. Now some big picture final points. First, I can't stress enough how important I think it is to keep a positive, loving, and child-oriented approach to toilet training. Remember that setbacks and accidents are common and expected. For most children, they are not doing it on purpose. Even if you're feeling frustrated to clean up another accident, try your best to hide those feelings from your child. It's so important to remember that toilet training is not a contest. It says nothing about your child's intelligence or capabilities, and if they're not interested, it does not mean that they are lazy or stubborn. It simply means that they're not yet ready. For my final point, I promise to you that it is going to happen. It may take days or weeks or months, but eventually your child will get there. And as my dad's favorite saying goes, by the time they walk down the aisle, he can promise you they'll be out of diapers. This is Dr. Jessica. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. If you have any tips on potty training, I'd love to read them in the comments below, and we'll see you next week.